But your book, I want
Okay.
to know about your book.
Yes,
And I know
the
there's so many
book.
stories. Erica's going to give me her account so I can listen to the audio version.
Mhm.
But we've had book writers on here before, everyone from amateur to professional, someone who's written his own book and
Self-published too. Mhm.
exactly, all the way to someone who's written like professional books, like does it for a living and happen to do it about a runner, an Olympic runner, and the whole story and getting that journey. How was the process of writing this book? How did it start? Who is Evelyn? Like, tell us everything. Were there ups and downs? How long did it take? Were there code browns? Like, tell us
I
the book writing story.
I loved this journey. I had so much fun. I think I'm a person that in my life I'm a keep moving forward. So I'm like, what's next? What's next? Moving forward, what's next? And I think this was such a beautiful way to reflect on my life in a way. So Evelyn, she did a piece on me when I was on the cover of Runner's World. She came out to Virginia for a weekend and followed me around and wrote this beautiful article. And it was one of the first articles that I felt like really seen. Like there was a
Mm.
couple lines in there that I was like, "Ooh, she really, really got me." And like actually one was like I took her one day to go for this run. Actually, we ran for a little bit and then she hopped on the bike and we were just talking. And it's like my favorite road in Richmond where like everyone goes and runs. And so like any given day you run there on like a Saturday or Sunday, you'll pass like 50 some people out there running. And I love it because everyone's, hey, how are you? And like a lot of people are like, go Keira, go Keira. And like every time someone would say that, I would say, Evelyn, like I paid them to say that. Like I'm really not this cool. I just paid them a lot of money. But so in that article, what she wrote was Keira loves going to this place and everyone's cheering for her, but it's clear she's not there for the cheers. She's there because she wants to be part of the community. And that just
Mm.
like I was like, "Oh my gosh, you see me." Like, and I think it would be a natural assumption to think, "Oh yeah, she just loves being cheered for." And it is nice. I will say that is nice. But for her to just to see right through me of how much I like crave community around me was so anyways, so while she was there, I was like, "Hey, have you ever written a book?" And she's like, "Well, one." And I was like, "Well, what if like we like tag team this?" Because I was mostly a straight A student, but I was always like a B plus in English because I wrote the
Mm.
way that I spoke. And I was always graded down that that's not how you're supposed to write. So I knew I needed help or else this wouldn't be a very pleasurable read. But I also talked to Evelyn and I said, I do want it to be in my voice. And I do want to stick it to all those English teachers that told me, don't write the way that you talk. I want this to feel like a conversation. I want this to feel like we're out on a long run and we're just chatting, and
It
going off
definitely
on.
translated that way. It was great. You got the little asides, like your little quotes, and so I felt like we were actually like talking. It was great.
Yeah, and so yeah, so we kind of like broke down the chapters and I told her like what lessons learned and then I would fill in the stories and she would put it all down on paper and then I would read it and say, "Well, this isn't what I meant here," or "Hey, let's use this," or "Hey, that reminds me of time I've won like 6 radio contests. We should probably include that in somewhere in the book." We're like, "Oh, one
What, a
time
radio contest?
I went on this spree where I was winning radio contests like it was my job." And I don't know what that says about me.
It says you're good at dialing because I could never get in through those things.
I don't
I
know.
never
I
picked
don't
up.
know. I don't know what that says, but I the only one dialing? That's what I started like questioning. Like, am I the only one actually pursuing this? But
What
yeah,
was the
so
coolest prize?
okay, well, oh man. So I won a lot of concert tickets. I
Okay.
won like a
Awesome.
really cool like prize pack. I won tickets to this like I don't know, it was called like some glam fest concert or whatever. I won like a CD like pack. I won some like DVDs and stuff. So it wasn't really all that cool. One time I had to call I had to call my mom and pretend like I was in jail. And if she freaked out, then I'd win a prize. And I was like, yeah, I'll do that.
Can you find this? Do you have this?
Don't go looking for it.
Oh no.
But the funny thing is, like, I was so nervous to do this. It actually sounds like I was crying, but really there was a shake in my voice because I was like, why am I
Laughing
doing
so
this?
hard.
I don't know. So I've done a lot of weird things, but
That's fun.
yeah, I don't even remember any of the prizes. So I don't even think it was about that.
Just for the fun of it. Why not? You enjoy
Yeah.
it.
I like it. I like doing that, but I sidetracked you back to the book. So you're
Oh,
doing this really cool book with Evelyn, and she's going to help you because you're a B student in English, but you're an A student everywhere else. And now, like, how do you go about writing about yourself? Like, how did Evelyn help you with that process to say you need to just get it all out there? Don't hold anything back. I'm assuming I haven't read, but I will get Erica's login credentials to listen.
I feel like I put it all out there. So we started out, she came back out to Richmond for a weekend and we just talked. Like, well, I shouldn't say we talked. I talked at her for like a straight 3 days. And so that was like a really good. She got a lot of stories, but she would just kind of ask a question and then I would just tell stories and tell stories and tell stories. And then we kind of tried to like pick out which stories were either one, the most relevant or the most
Oh.
entertaining, or that just like kind of defined me as a person and showed how I grew or how I learned something or like things that I've failed at. And yeah, and then we kind of like went chapter by chapter. We really just wrote it in chronological order. But the funny thing about my book too, which I don't know how many people do it this way, is I didn't know the ending when I started writing the book. So when I started writing the book, I had broken the American record in the marathon and I had, I think, made my first like world team, but I don't think I had broken the half marathon American record yet. And I hadn't raced in the 2024 Olympic trials. So a lot of that book, I was living as we were writing about it. And even like we had the book totally finished by the end of 2023, and we saved the last chapter for how the Olympic trials in 2024 would go. And
Oh.
so the ending of the book was totally dependent on how that race went for me. And
Mm.
spoiler alert, it did not go very well. And I almost got a heat stroke and I dropped out of the race. And that was a really, really tough race. It's probably the most disappointed I've ever been after a race. It took me the most to like build myself up. And I
Oh,
won't
that was
spoil it.
Orlando, wasn't it?
It was in
Ooh,
Orlando.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I
But
remember
it
watching
was
that.
I feel like now, like you see in the book, like how I wrap it all up, but I couldn't have asked for an even better ending because I feel like the way that it ends is like really putting all the other lessons in the book and like really applying them. So
Mhm.
even though the race isn't how I wanted to turn out, I feel like it's makes it even like a more like human story that, how I reflected and how I moved on from that race in a really,
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm proud of myself, I guess, but yeah.